different ways to get easy baskets from a sideline out of bounds basketball play. So let's take a look. Obviously, now number one has the basketball. We're going to switch sides on this one a little bit, and we're going to set this one on the opposite side of the floor. So as you can see here, we have our players lined up pretty much on the opposite half of the floor. Now, what we want to kind of fake here a little bit is that number two might be setting a screen for number four, number three might be setting a screen for number five. But what we're actually going to do is just have number two and number three split. So number two is going to move this way, number three is going to move that way. So both of those players are going to move. Number two is going to split and number three is going to split. We want to get the basketball into number three. Now, as that happens, number two is going to come up here and set a screen for the inbounder in number one, and then number one is going to cut hard to the basket. Right, number one is going to cut hard. We might be able to just throw number one in a deep pass. Who knows? We might be able to get it. We might not be able to get it. But if we can't get it, number one is just going to continue cutting. Everybody else is going to fill a spot. And number three is going to run a dribble handoff over here to number two. Number three is going to bring that dribble handoff over. And now you're going to have a dribble handoff for number two to potentially get a wide open lane to the basket. So a few different options here. We want to look for number one on that initial pass. But again, if that doesn't work, then we also have a dribble handoff option over there to number two as well. So a few different options on this one. But again, this one, we're kind of looking at something different here. Again, it's easy and effective, but we're also looking to get an easy layup. It's not just to get the ball inbounds on this one, maybe like our stack was. Our stack was a little bit more, okay, let's figure things out after we get the ball inbounds. But for this one, we have two options here to score an easy basket after getting the ball inbounds, which is kind of the most important part of this. Here, it's an easy one. It's a popular one. It is the stack. I think everybody that coaches basketball is familiar with the stack, but there are multiple different ways to run a stack out of bounds basketball play. Now, what we're going to look at here is my favorite one because it gives us multiple different effective options. Now, the good thing about a stack is that you can run it with just about any age group and it can still be effective because, again, there are just so many different options that you can throw at a team, within a stack. So what we have here, obviously our players are stacked up against each other. They're standing pretty close together in a stack, right? We have our inbounder here and we're inbounding on the sideline out of bounds, of course. Now, the first thing that we're going to do within the stack is the first player in the stack, number two, is going to loop around all the way through, and we're going to see, can we potentially get an easy lane to the basket right here for number two? Can we potentially get an easy cut? Is everybody going to be focused so much on the stack that we can just have number two loop all the way around the stack and potentially get a lob over here to number two for an easy wide open layup? That's going to be our initial look. We might not get this if this is an older team, but if this is a younger team, you're very well likely going to get this wide open layup for number two. So number two is doing that. They're cutting hard to the basket, and we're going to see if we can get the ball here. As that is happening, number three and number four are then going to split in a different direction. So number three is going to move this way, and number four is going to move that way. So number three and number four are splitting to the two sides of the floor to see if we can potentially get the ball inbounds into one of these people. And as that happens, number five is going to cut directly to the basketball. So we have movement there from all players involved in the stack. These three players are just trying to get open, whereas number two is looking for a wide open layup. Let's have these players stack up and run this again. So here's number two, number three, number four, and number five. So as we mentioned, number two is going to loop around the stack. They're going to see if we can potentially get a lob in here for an easy layup. But if not, number two is just moving on. Number three and number four are going to split to look for the basketball while number five cuts directly to the basketball. Every player here is an option, and this is good, like I said, for just about any age group.
That we are going to look at today is used by Coach Greg Popovich. Now, Coach Greg Popovich used to run this play a lot with the San Antonio Spurs during the Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili era. So that, kind of prime era of Spurs basketball that, made Greg Popovich known as such an amazing head coach, right? So in this particular play, they start up in a box form, as we can see here, right? We start in a box around the key. Now, what's actually going to happen here on this sideline out of bounds basketball play is we're going to get an easy layup for one of our players. So let's take a quick look at it. So even though we have our inbounder right here, number one, up relatively high, which is what's typically going to happen on a sideline out of bounds play, we're going to be somewhere near here. We're still going to have all of our players in a box, right? So they're going to be low in a box around the key. So what's going to happen here is we're going to have number two push off, and number two is going to come up here to the basketball. So they're going to push off their player. They're going to come up top to the basketball, and we're going to give the ball to number two. Now, what's going to happen from here is that we are going to immediately give a dribble handoff here to number one. So maybe number one can kind of fake that they're cutting that way, but they're going to receive a dribble handoff here from number two. So number one's going to then receive the basketball back. Now, what's going to happen then for number two is going to get screened on by two back-to-back screens from number four and number five. So how this will look, number four is going to come up and set that first screen here for number two, right? And then number five is going to come to about right here and set another screen. Maybe we'll get that a little bit higher, actually, just for the sake of the room that we have on the floor. All right, we'll have the first screen here. We'll have the second screen here. Number two is coming off both of those screens. Now, what's going to happen here as well is number three is going to come up and set a screen for the ball. So the ball with number one in the ball in number one's hands rather is going to come about to right here, and then they're going to find number two wide open. So number one with the basketball, like I said, they're coming right here after that first screen was being set by number three, and then they're going to see number two wide open under the rim. So let's take another look at it. Let's reset. If we change up our numbers a little bit, it's not the end of the world, right? Let's just move some of these folks around for the sake of this. And again, what's going to happen to start? Number five is going to push off. They're going to come up here, right? We're going to receive the ball. Number one is kind of faking that they're going that way, and they're going to receive that dribble handoff from number five. Then we have number two, in this case, coming up to set that first screen, and then number three right here to set that second screen. Number five is looping around to the basket, and as that happens, number four setting a ball screen here. Number one is going to dribble a little bit over to the side, maybe even inside the three-point line. They're going to feed the ball into number five for the wide open layup. All right, folks, I need to quickly stop right there before we move into our next topic to mention that right now, 97.1% of our daily viewers are not subscribed to our channel. So that means if you are one of these people, if you are one of these 97.1% who are not currently subscribed but are watching this video, it would be greatly appreciated if you could take the time real quick to hit that subscribe button. It will help us continue to make content like this, continue to make basketball plays for other coaches, basketball drills for other players, and basketball, everything that both players and coaches and organizations alike can use. So again, if you could really quickly take the time to hit that subscribe button, it'll just take 2 seconds. It would be greatly appreciated. But moving on to our next topic.